It always comes to this. More nice shit. Morning guys, back again to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I had showed off session 4, I believe, of my back piece. It's developing very quickly, just as I expected, and it healed really easily. It was a fairly painful session, and we did about 5.5, 6 hours or something again. Seems to be about typical between 5 and 6 hours for the back piece, where you're working on such a large canvas too. There's lots of room to jump around and kind of work all over the place. So there's not this thing where sometimes if you're working in the same area for too long, it kind of skin tightens up and you don't really get a lot for your time. With the back, you've always got lots of places you can work. So it's, kind of easy to spend most of a day working on it. I've got another session coming up with it actually tomorrow, and because most of the back is healing, or at least most of the Krampus itself is healing, we're gonna take a week off working on the actual face and hand and all the foreground. We're going to work on the background instead. So we're going to be doing all kinds of blue and maybe a little bit of red to tie in on the side. On one side, there's more space than the other. I'll go ahead and show off how it healed before I talk more about it here. The color did pretty well, I think. So this is first pass color. And I'm just going to move forward. Hopefully I'm doing something here. So that's all first pass color. The only part of the color that had been done prior at all was the first session. We did a very small amount of red packing in the eyes and a little bit of yellow. There was almost no yellow to the eye. But even though it's not showing, it doesn't mean it's not in there. I've spoken about this quite a bit on Remy Reacts, but if you were to half saturate me, you would never see color through. So like, I've had some people on here in my comments. There's someone who watches this channel every video I put up, and they've been attempting to do some color on black, and they're not having a ton of return for their efforts. And the thing is like, unless your saturation is really solid, you're not really going to see anything. It's going to be muddy, like muddy black. There'll be like some tint to the black, but there won't be any real like prominent color. And like, you can get away with kind of half saturating something on negative space, because if the skin has no ink in it, then it's going to show any ink that's in there. It's not going to be as good as it could be, but whereas if you do that on blackout, you're not going to see fuck all. So you really need to make sure that you're going to someone who's, well regarded for their color packing, and they're showing like healed, really bright color on negative skin. Because if they're not, then their color on black is not gonna work. I've said a million times that any color packer can do this work. That doesn't mean any artist can pack color, though. Not all artists are equipped for that. And most like black and gray guys, they just do like a color highlight or something. Like, that's not going to be your best bet, because one thing that you learn when you're working with color is, when to walk away, when the skin's had enough, but also to trust your color saturation. Like, it's one of those, oh, I know how that healed when I did that last time that way. And so that skin is saturated enough. I don't need to go into it again. Sometimes, like, especially on negative skin, you won't see it on blackout, but the redness and the blood and irritation and all these things can influence the color that you're seeing on the exterior. And so a color packer someone who packs color all the time will have seen that a million times with pretty much every tone and color they're using. And so they'll know what those tones are going to look like when they heal and when the skin settles down. And so when you're just dabbling with color and you don't do it all the time, you kind of really don't have that luxury. You're just like, well, I don't know what that looks like, so maybe I need to hit it more. You know, and all skin is different always. Like, for example, my skin, it has to be worked really, really hard. It has to be worked very hard. I have tough skin anyway. Like, I don't have the softest skin. Let's be real here. There's people out there that have asserted that I have this magical skin that is very supple and takes ink very easily. It's true that I show ink very, very good, I guess. I am a very fair person, very pale. I'm not the palest. There are much paler people that come in here, and there are some canvases that come in here, we'll say, that are perfect for ink. There's some of the more often than not, it tends to be female clients, but there are some males as well. There are some clients where as soon as you touch their skin with color, it turns the color. Like, it's like, touch a little bit of blue, it's blue. Me, that's not how it goes. I have to be worked pretty hard. So in order to get color into me, especially on black, you have to be willing to work me pretty good. And even if my skin reacts in some way, there's also this like awareness that both Terry and Rick have. And I think Terry more so, to be honest, where it's like, that guy can take it. Like, that skin will heal. And my skin calms down really, really quick. And it's one of those, when you've seen it heal and had no problems enough times, you just figure out that you can put it in pretty hard. You can put it in pretty good. So, I think after the first pass back blackout that Terry did on me, if he hadn't already figured it out at that point, then the sky is the limit. You know, I think Lee, my first black worker, and a longtime friend of mine, we did a lot of black and gray work on me as well. And quite a bit of color as well back in the day. He did quite a bit of color on me. He doesn't specialize in color now, but he has in the past, which made him a pretty good fit for black work. I've still, in person, I haven't seen smoother black. It wasn't as dark as Rick's, but it was smooth. That guy understood my body very, very well, because he worked on me for at least 300 or 400 hours. I would say maybe closer to 500 hours. For a while, he was my primary tattooer. And so he figured out my skin to a place where it was like, you're very, very proficient with the instrument that you're playing, right? It's like if you play guitar for 20 years, you know, you probably know how to play guitar and very, very well. It's like any other instrument and any other medium, really. The longer you're in that medium, the longer or the better you know it. And so he had a fluency of language that was able to get what he wanted out of my skin with minimal effort. And I think Terry has dialed in on this. I think Rick still struggles sometimes, not to beat the old guy. I think sometimes his instincts that, oh, that skin is inflamed, I think that gets the better of him in my case, because there's just about nothing you can do to me that I won't heal through. So I think sometimes it's a matter of play through the pain, bud. It's going to be okay. For example, I had another session with Rick recently, and we did all kinds of random stuff. This, believe it or not, had only been done one time in here, and you can see this is a little dry, but this is all healed up now. Well, I got it up there. I totally forget what I've got done even sometimes. I'm not kidding. Yeah, I had this done last week, and it's a bit dry. I forgot the lotion here this morning, but the color for a first pass did really, really good. Especially that red in there. That's nice and silky, smooth red. I'm like looking at it now. I haven't looked at it all in a couple days, and I'm like, holy shit, look at that red. That's fucking nice. Even the yellow did really well, too. Anyway, we did this for the second time. This piece has been done twice. This piece hadn't been done twice, believe it or not. There's some parts of this that have only been done once. But it shouldn't do it because this was done for the first time just last week. So there are some spots on here. Well, I mean, when I say once and twice, that's just for this sleeve. I had someone ask me the other day, are these sleeve counts for like, this is session 53, I think. Does that mean for the sleeve all together? And no, that's just this sleeve. That's not the old ones. That's not the blackout. That's not the first arm. If we were talking that way, we'd be closer to 100. My first sleeve had multiple reworks and was full color and had some cover-ups in it as well and all kinds of insanity. So if I was to count all of those, who knows where the fuck we'd be. I know my arm was fully blacked out at least 5-6 times. Full color arms, especially if you're not going to people who are specifically black workers. And even in that case, full color takes quite a while to black out. And even some people think you can't black out color, believe it or not. I've had that, like, oh, the black went over the red. Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many times I've heard that. So not only do a lot of people think you can't put color over black, but a lot of people think you can't put black over color. There's a lot of weird old superstition in this industry that I've been a big part of, I think, for open-minded people, disproving. Anyway, we did this chunk in here for the second time, and the first pass on this did really, really good in there. So I'm anticipating a very, very positive result with the second pass as well. And then there's just some random chunks of black that were redone, and some of that is going over color elements. And I think Rick wants the standard of the black to be like that everywhere. And we have that happening up here as well. So it is achievable what he's looking for. And now in the areas that aren't as dark as, say, these ones here, I think he's just trying to buff up to get them as dark as they can be. You see that happening in different places here. So I think he's just picking those off as he comes to them. But we went into the ditch again, and that was where I wanted to focus the most on, because some of these suction cups are still muddy. And even after this is the third time we've been in on this ditch area. And it's still like, he has this issue with the ditch. It inflames and it gets angry, and then it's like, well, too much, you gotta get out. It's like, dude, you could run a train over that thing. It's gonna heal okay. And yeah, it's still a little sore and it's a bit swollen this morning, but like, I don't think it would have been too much worse if we had to pack the rest of the ditch. There's a spot in here that we avoided. I think it's like right in here. You can see the brighter colors here are the fresher ones. And then in here, we didn't touch. Maybe just a little bit. But we did the suction cups, and I find the suction cups to be a very important part of this whole composition, because we carry them all throughout, and they do connect top and bottom. And so for them to be more fully developed and realized, the whole sleeve has a more focused and kind of connected look. Where they're a little duller, I feel like the top and bottom are more disconnected. It's the same thing we have happening here at the elbow, which is better than it was, but this fucking yellow shine will always be a bit of a thorn in the side of this sleeve. And I understand what Rick was thinking when he laid out the sleeve the way he did here, and using the this would maybe be negative space in a black and gray composition, this suction cup. There would only be so much black, but to put a suction cup on the ball of the elbow, it was an ambitious task, because that has to be packed with blue and green. There's a subtle bit of green in every one of these suction cups that gives the blue more of a shine. And these are those things that they're not supposed to be immediately recognizable to the eye. It's supposed to be more painterly. And so the green is, in a way, acting as a highlight, almost like a whitewood in black and gray. But to achieve all of those things on the ball of an elbow, and a color on black project is an ambitious idea. So, and I don't even think that it's out of the realm of doable, but probably not for someone just looking to get an easier color on black sleeve. And there are easier and harder ones. For example, the rose sleeve, it was kind of paint by numbers. We kept it real simple. Both versions of it, or rather every version of this sleeve was a very easy, an easy thing to do over black. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone trying this for the first time, or maybe even at all if you don't like getting tattooed. What's this, 53 sessions? And I think we're over halfway, but we've still got a lot of work to do. A lot of people would look at this and go, oh, that looks like it's pretty close to finished, though. And in daylight and in everyday life, I look at it sometimes and I'm like, I could pretty much be done, save for the hand. The hand still needs to be built. But like, I understand what the standard is. The standard is this everywhere. That's kind of what we're going for. And so it will scale with my patients. It's not the kind of thing where I'm going to get diminishing returns. Sometimes I think people might believe that. But if you go back and you watch even 10 videos ago, you'll see that there have been dramatic improvements. It's just in the way that we're building these layers, every week is not always going to be an immediately gratifying one. So it's very much a process of layering and building upon a foundation of knowledge gained while working on the job itself. So you have to be open to, kicking the can back and forth and fucking around and just having fun with it. And it's not the kind of thing that you're just going to wander in and purchase off the wall like so many people want tattoos to be. Anyway, I will be talking to you guys again here, I guess, in a few days. And I'll have another back piece update to show off. All right, take care.